Hey guys, it's me, Jessica. I was just thinking of, it's me, Mario. It doesn't work with Jessica. Anyway, I am here to bring you a review of a foundation. This is the Revlon Photoready Airbrush Effect Makeup, and I have it in the shade 002 Vanilla. This is available in drugstores. I bought mine, I think, at Walgreens, but I'm looking online. They have 12 shades, not very many darker shades. So if you're a darker gal or a deeper skin gal, you're probably not gonna have a lot of luck finding the shade you need. That seems to be true for a lot of foundations, which seems ridiculous considering that's half of the population. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, the price point of this varies depending on where you buy it. You can get it at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS for around $12 to $13. Of course, if you've got coupons or their sales, it'll be even cheaper. On Ulta's website, it's like $14.99. So unless there's a sale, I wouldn't buy it there. But what I love about the packaging is that it's got a pump and it's got a lid for that pump so it's not accidentally getting pressed like if you travel with it. It's in a glass jar and it comes with 1 fluid ounce, which is typical of most drugstore foundations. So I'm going to show you a demo of me applying it today. I'm wearing it today, and I wanted you to see how it applies both with my hand and with the brush. So let's go ahead and get into the demo. So I'm going to apply half of my face with this with my hand and the other half with the brush. This is an IT Cosmetics brush that I love. It's really, really expensive. You can use Real Techniques has an amazing face brush. e.l.f. has amazing ones. They call it their powder brush, but it's really good for foundation. There's a lot of really inexpensive options that are great. I don't use the Beauty Blender a lot for my foundation trials just because most people in the world that are looking for reviews don't own one of those. So I don't like to use them all the time in these, although I do love them. However, this is more of a liquidy consistency, and I don't love the way it applies with the Beauty Blender anyway. So I'm going to try these two formats. So I'm going to pump a little bit in my hand. This is in the shade 002 Vanilla, by the way. And I'm just going to kind of dot it all over. So I'm going to do this half with my hand. And it is a little bit darker than my skin tone. And actually, when I bought this like a month ago, I was darker because I've been training outside a lot more, but a lot of it's faded, which is just fine with me. So it is a little bit deeper than my skin tone, but I don't think it looks terrible. However, if this is one that I love, I might want to invest in the one that's the 1 shade lighter, which would have to be 001. So I'm noticing it really does give like pretty good coverage. I mean, comparing it to this side with no coverage right now, you can see my freckles, which is fine, but you can see some breakouts down here. Whereas here, I had a few breakouts. You can still see them, but it does look a lot better. It looks pretty nice, I have to admit. It's still a little bit tacky and it's not a completely matte finish, but I don't love matte finishes on foundation. So let's try the other side with the brush. And again, I'm just gonna kind of dot it all over the place. I got most of my forehead done in that first one. Or most of my nose, I meant. Okay. Just kind of working it back into my hairline. Should have pulled my hair back, but that's alright. So I'm thinking that it applies a lot more flawlessly with my hand because I can still see a little bit of the hyperpigmentation. This brush really does, I don't want to say sheer out foundation, but it really melts it into the skin, almost to the point where sometimes, depending on how liquid the foundation is, like this one is really liquidy, it will shear it out a little more. So that is one thing I would say this almost applies the best with your hand. I'm going to apply just a little bit more to those areas because this really is, it says photo ready, like it's a photo ready one, but it does feel like it's more, I'm going to just do my hand. I would say max is medium coverage. I wouldn't consider this a high coverage foundation. But if you don't have huge skin problems, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Now, one thing I've noticed with this, and if you've watched any reviews of this, you know that it does have like glitter in it. And usually once it's set is when I really start to see it. It's not quite, it's still a little bit tacky, but it does dry down. But there is a little bit of an element of glitter to it. So that's something to keep in mind if you know you're going to be in the sun. that glitter is gonna really show through, and not necessarily in a great way, unless you don't mind that. But it would be everywhere you put the foundation. So that's something to keep in mind. So clearly it applies well. I would say it's got medium coverage, give or take, and of course you can build it. I mean, it covers everything I need to cover, but if you do have a lot of, you know, scarring issues or anything like that, this probably is not a good choice for you. I love the packaging, as I'd mentioned earlier. It's so cute. The pump is so easy. You can really control how much comes out, which is really nice. But the glitter effect really kind of drives me bonkers. I mean, from here, like even looking in my mirror, from here, I can't see it. But when you're up close, you can see it, and when you're in the sunlight, you can see it. And it's very rare for you to not, you know, at least for me, I leave the house, and so the sun's hitting me, and even in the car, I see it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look insane. So for me, I don't think this is a great option. I don't know if it's really a wonderful option for anyone. I guess if you were truly, it does look nice in photos, and the only thing that confuses me is that it's got an SPF of 20. SPF in foundations can tend to flash back if you're in flash photography. So you end up looking like a ghost, like a white cast is over your face in the photos. Now SPF 20 is a little bit lower, so I don't know if there would be as much flashback, but it's just something to keep in mind. It seems odd that in a photo-ready foundation that they would have any SPF. You'd think they wouldn't. So that was kind of confusing to me. As to the airbrush effect, quality of it, or at least it says, I think the glitter is supposed to diffuse the light, and that's why it makes it look more airbrushed, but I wouldn't say that it's anything better than like the Revlon Color Stay Whipped that I love, or anything like that. It doesn't feel tacky or anything like that. It does at first, but once it sets, it's fine. But I would definitely recommend, if you do own this or if you're thinking about buying it, definitely cover it with a powder so that it's not tacky anymore if you need to apply blush right away, or wait for it to set before you apply any blush or contour or highlight, because it's gonna stick to any of those tacky patches and just look kind of wonky. I will say to this foundation's credit that when you wear it throughout the day, I've worn this off and on for the past few weeks, it doesn't end up looking weird by the end of the day like a lot of foundations do, so it doesn't seem to oxidize on me at all. And now that I'm seeing it with, you know, now that it's set with all the rest of my makeup on, I think this color match actually is pretty good for me, the 002. Overall, would I recommend this? No. I can't put my Jam Beauty stamp of approval on it just because of that glitter. That's pretty much the only reason. It's just, if they hadn't had the glitter, I would love to see what this foundation would be like, because otherwise it's nice and it doesn't break up and it stays in place and it covers pretty well, and I love the packaging, but that's kind of a big deal to me. So other than that, it's a good foundation. If you don't mind the glitter, then I would say go for it, because it is a good foundation other than that. Hopefully this review is helpful for you guys. I have tons of other drugstore foundation reviews. If you're interested in seeing the demos of those and my review of them, I will link my playlist below. And I hope you'll subscribe to catch more, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. Bye!